Hi, it's Dwyer, DwyerVIP.com, GamblersAdvisory.com. Here with some post-Game 7 comments and some post-fight comments following the conclusion of the Eastern Conference NBA Finals, as well as the Bradley Pacquiao fight. With regard to basketball, I'll be brief. To those of you who are subscribers on DwyerVIP.com, the heavy play recommendation that I made about 2 months ago delivered. Miami won the Eastern Conference title. Right now, I concede, I'll be the first to admit, that it was a lot closer than expected. But thank goodness for fourth quarters of Game 7s. You profited. It's in your bank account today or on your betting slip. That's what's important. Even with the Bosch injury, LeBron delivered. Now we can move on from that heavy play bet. Let's talk boxing. You know, boxing is like art. Some will look at a Jackson Pollock and see greatness. Others will look at the painting and will score it against him. Now, before I go further, let me also talk agenda. I'm not a promoter. I'm not a manager. I'm not someone employed by a cable station that would profit from a rematch. I'm not trying to hunt down any fighters for their comments about themselves, their careers, or their plans. Right? I'm just trying to gamble to make money. I believe most of my subscribers are just trying to find the gap between the public narrative and reality, because that's where all of us make money, right? In the past, when I've picked a guy and he has lost in the ring, like my pick Carl Froch against Andre Durrell, right? Even when that guy is awarded the decision, I've told you that the guy got a gift, right? I believe that Froch Durrell video is still up. In fact, I believe all the videos I've made are still up on YouTube. Now, with that in mind, let me also add that I have not watched the HBO version of this fight that had Emmanuel Stewart, a personal hero, Max Kellerman, or Jim Lampley, right? What I saw was a UK feed on an outfit called Prime Time. And I have to admit to you that after a few rounds, I had to turn off the volume because the commentator on that channel was not tracking the fight I was watching. Right now, with all of that in mind, and knowing that my pre-fight prediction was that Timothy Bradley was the only person who could win a decision in this fight, and that Timothy Bradley was a live underdog even at greater than 3-1 odds. Let's discuss what actually happened on the fight, right? I saw the same fight that 2 of the 3 judges saw, right? Now, I understand that's controversial. I got my paper this morning and I saw that people like Teddy Atlas, Dan Rayfield, were saying, Bob Arum, were saying that this was an outrage. I believe Teddy Atlas tweeted that boxing is corrupt. You know, I quite frankly don't know what fight they were watching. Let me challenge YouTube Nation, because I'm sure, and I'm just getting on YouTube, right? Right after the fight, my girlfriend came over. I'm literally just back from breakfast. I've been out of the mix. I understand there is a huge outcry about this fight. But let me challenge YouTube Nation. On my scorecard, I had Bradley winning the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. I have no doubt, I don't understand how any other scorecard could see those 4 rounds differently, right? Bradley overcomes a leg problem, right? After the fight, Bradley actually disclosed that he hurt his ankle early in the fight. You clearly see that in the middle rounds. He overcomes a leg problem. He starts shooting a jab. He makes Manny Pacquiao look extremely limited. I would challenge anyone to go back and look at the tape. All Pacquiao has is a straight left hand. And Bradley's outworking him. Bradley has him lunging. Bradley is skillfully ducking under the left hand. Think Alexander Povetkin ducking under Marco Huck's right hand that Marco Huck could only deliver with authority up top. Right? Bradley's circling him. Clearly Manny Pacquiao wins none of the last 4 rounds of this fight. Right? If you're going to argue the Pacquiao position, if you're going to join the chorus, and it's a huge chorus of people claiming that somehow these 3 judges all conspired to come up with 115, 113 scores. I mean, understand, even the judge who scored the fight for Manny Pacquiao had the fight 115, 113, right? No judge has this fight a wide margin. None. Right? So what I'd like to know from the Pacquiao group is simply, what did your man do in the last 4 rounds to win any of them? Any of them. Let me challenge you further. Okay, now, the first round. When this fight starts, what I'd like to know, what I'd like you to do is to go back, look at that first round. What exactly did Pacquiao do in that first round to win the first round? In fact, quite frankly, I could say the same of the second round. The way my scorecard read was that Timothy Bradley won the first round, he won the second round, he won the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. I thought the third round was a draw. I thought Pacquiao took over in the 4th round. I thought Pacquiao won the 4th, he won the 5th, he won the 6th, he won the 7th. The 8th round is a little bit iffy, but I gave the 8th round to Manny Pacquiao. On my scorecard, Timothy Bradley won this fight 6-5 with 1 round, a draw. Right? That's how I saw it. Now, had Manny Pacquiao won a close decision, I would have thought, okay, that's within the margin of disagreement. But what I don't understand are the folks who have Manny Pacquiao dominating this fight. I didn't see that fight. Quite frankly, I don't know how Manny Pacquiao could dominate a fight where he doesn't win a round after the 8th. You know, my point to you is, this is a 12-round fight. It's not an 8-round fight. Right? So unless you can point to a round after the 8th round that Manny Pacquiao won, then this fight is a close fight. And then you really have to look at what happened in the fight. I thought, quite frankly, that if Timothy Bradley doesn't have leg problems for a while there, as I watched the fight, I thought it was almost a Lucien Boutte, Carl Froch situation, because Bradley clearly had a dead leg. Right? And again, I'm just telling you my perspective. He clearly had a dead leg in the middle of the fight. And I was watching it and I thought, man, what happened to Bradley? At one point, he even looks like he's about to fall down on his own. He backs out and then he's looking shaky. And I thought, man, Bradley doesn't have his balance, right? He also seemed to me to have a problem with Manny Pacquiao's power. But understand, Pacquiao, because it's all a straight left or it's nothing, Pacquiao wasn't able to step up after he hurt Bradley with a right hook or anything, right? So this was a story in the middle of the fight of Timothy Bradley being there, right? You know, he ducks under Manny's left hand, but then Manny starts catching him. But Pacquiao, unfortunately, didn't have anything else. He couldn't take the next step in and literally empty the draw. Because, of course, the draw was already empty. He's that proverbial fastball pitcher with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball who doesn't have the curve and the slider to go with it. If I'm sounding hard, then what you have to ask yourself, and I'm serious about this, let's get the wheat off the chaff. Let's cut the fat right now. You're going to have to ask yourself why Pacquiao is supposed to have such great power, but yet several of the last few opponents he's had, right? Margarito, Mosley, Marquez, Bradley, they've all gone the distance. For a guy with a great left hand, one that we know can knock down men, right? We saw him knock down Shane Mosley, something Floyd Mayweather did not do, right? For a guy with that kind of stunning KO punch, why is it that all of these guys were able to go the distance? And I believe the answer is simple. It's because he has that punch and he doesn't have other things, right? It would be like me fighting Vladimir Klitschko and knowing that Klitschko has a concussive straight right hand, right? And, you know, that he can drop me at any time. But then once I know that, if I'm able to linger over on his left side and not pay the penalty of facing a concussive left hook, if he doesn't have that left hook, and if I can just get so close to him, and by the way, I thought it was brilliant later in the fight when Bradley starts smothering Pacquiao. If I can get so close to him that he can't throw that straight right hand, right? Because the straight hands, whether right or left, can only happen from distance, right? Up close, you need a hook or an uppercut. If I know that I can just neutralize that nuclear weapon, that straight right hand, by just getting too close to him for him to throw it, then I'd be able to hang round after round after round. Isn't that what these guys have been doing with Manny Pacquiao? Haven't they figured out that it's a straight left or it's nothing? Or you can literally hang around the rest of the fight? As I've said in an earlier video, can you honestly tell me that Manny Pacquiao has progressed that much as a fighter from the first Marquez fight to the last Marquez fight? Put another way, you tell me, other than shooting that straight left a little bit lower after the third round, what adjustments did Manny Pacquiao make in this fight? While you're at it, just tell me, what did Manny do after the 8th round to win any of those rounds. Understand, too, that some of the people making statements about this fight, notably Bob Arum, have skin in the game, right? If there's a rematch, here's a shock, Bob Arum will be the promoter, or Bob Arum's group, Top Rank, will be the promoter. If you think Bob Arum is doing this for charity, you're kidding yourself. Manny Pacquiao made millions, Timothy Bradley made millions, Bob Arum made millions. And that was last night. You can imagine what they're going to do on a rematch. So when you hear these guys talking about how, it was a disgrace, how could the scoring be like this, blah, blah, blah. Understand that is a promoter catering to his most important client, Manny Pacquiao, right? And that's a promoter also setting it up so that there's controversy, there's intrigue, and you're going to tune in on November 10th to see exactly how that intrigue gets resolved. Let me just say this. Based on the fight I saw, Timothy Bradley wins the rematch. Not only did he win last night, he wins the rematch by a wider margin. Because the problem is, style-wise, if you're facing a guy with one nuclear weapon, if I'm facing a pitcher, and I understand that all that pitcher has is an overpowering 100-mile-an-hour fastball, sooner or later, I'm going to stop looking for a changeup. I'm going to stop looking for a curve. I'm going to sit on that fastball. I'm going to know that it's coming. I'm going to be ready to swing at it. Right here, I thought Timothy Bradley, once his leg, now he won't say it because he's a gentleman, but once his leg healed, and I don't mean heal, I mean once he was able to figure out how to deal with a sprained ankle in the middle of the biggest fight of his life, once he figured out the balance, he dominated Manny Pacquiao. Don't believe me. Don't believe this video. Lord knows the group that follows me on YouTube often doesn't, and they'll let me know it. Just look at the comments to the Carl Froch, Lucien Boutte videos I made. Don't believe what I have to say. Believe the scorecards of all three judges. Right? Manny Pacquiao got dominated over the last 4 rounds of this fight. Dominated. That's why he lost the fight. What you need to ask yourself is, in a rematch, even if it's in November, in fact, forget November, let's say it's in May of next year. If Manny Pacquiao hasn't developed a great right hand over all of the years of his boxing career, and he's 33, what would lead you to believe that Manny Pacquiao would be able to develop any semblance of a great right hand to counterbalance his straight left between now and when this fight takes place? Not only that, Timothy Bradley, when he first starts fighting Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, after he wins the first 2 rounds, and let me just say that understand that opinion took going through a lot of smoke. I was listening to a dreadful announcer on the UK channel tell us how great Manny Pacquiao was. It was almost like Manny Pacquiao was running for Congress here in the United States, right? I've seen less unbiased commentary in political campaigns, right? Here, I was getting inundated with these pro-Manny Pacquiao statements during the first 2 rounds, and as I watched the round, I thought it was obvious from the first round that you were dealing with a technician who's a jack of all trades, Timothy Bradley. First off, Bradley's two-handed, right? Bradley is moving around the ring. Wasn't this the first Manny Pacquiao fight in recent memory where his opponent could actually match him in foot speed. Dare I say, too, that while I don't believe Timothy Bradley would have been able to have matched prime Pacquiao in foot speed, I thought in this fight it was clear that Manny Pacquiao has lost a lot of his foot speed. He now comes at you in straight lines. This literally looked early to me like a pitcher with a lot of pitches, right? Doesn't throw 100, might throw in the low 90s, but he has a curve, he has a slider, he has a changeup. He was varying the distance. He was moving away from Manny Pacquiao's straight left. I thought this was a fighter with a galaxy of skills against a specialist. And that's what we have to start viewing Manny Pacquiao as. Pacquiao just looks in the early rounds as if he's standing outside, and then he comes in, right, trying to land that straight left. Then, of course, he covers up a little bit. He'll come in, he'll throw two hands, but there's nothing on the right hand, right? Nothing. And then, of course, he's following Bradley around the ring, and Bradley's outmaneuvering him for the first two rounds. Then we get to the middle of the fight. Pacquiao's power, right, the velocity on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball starts to take over. But understand, that's all there is. Pacquiao's overpowering Bradley with a fastball. He's not masterfully dealing with Bradley, right? So Bradley, who looks just like Lucien Boutte, as if he can't really move, right? Even gets hit with some straight left hands. Here's the problem, though. As Bradley dances away and tries to duck under the punches, just like Povetkin did with Marco Huck, right? Understand that when the punch gets there, even though it hits Bradley, Bradley's braced for it. Because from distance, Bradley knows he doesn't have to worry about Manny Pacquiao's right hand. I thought Bradley won the fight. I had it scored 6-5 and 1. I thought it was a close fight, right? The closest rounds for me were rounds 3, which I ruled the draw, and round 8, which I gave to Manny Pacquiao. But even giving round 8 to Manny Pacquiao does not give him the draw in the fight, right? My point to you is simply, had this fight stopped at 10 rounds, Manny Pacquiao would have won the fight on my scorecard. But it was a 12-round fight. And once Timothy Bradley solved the puzzle, this fight was over. Let me shake things up. I like Timothy Bradley in the rematch. I'll make a rematch video at the time, but the point is simply, to the Pacquiao people, you're going to have to explain to me exactly what Manny Pacquiao is going to do differently late in this fight. Let me also say this too. You can tell a fighter is getting older when his stamina starts to turn on him. And I'll just say this. The Manny Pacquiao who was riding high, he was a beast late in fights, right? The 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, he had incredible stamina. Take a look at the Manny Pacquiao who beat Miguel Cotto, right? Take a look at the Manny Pacquiao who beats Antonio Margarito. Was that the same Manny Pacquiao in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds yesterday against Timothy Bradley? I would say it was not, right? I like Bradley in the rematch. I thought Bradley won this fight. If you followed my advice, there should be some money in your account today. because Bradley, a greater than 3-1 shot, won the fight. Even if you back out the Pacquiao by KO hedge, you should have more than doubled your money. Let me know what you think. I understand Emmanuel Stewart and others see it differently. What I would encourage people to do is to believe their own two eyes. Watch the fight again, only this time, kill the volume. And I want you to look at rounds 1, 2, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right? While you're at it, if you want to throw in rounds 3 and round 8, go ahead and do that. Let me go one step further. Look at Bradley's legs. Let me shake things up a bit. If Timothy Bradley doesn't hurt his ankle early in this fight, toward the end of the second round, maybe sometime in the third round, you know what? I don't even think we go through a stretch in this fight where Manny Pacquiao wins several rounds in a row. Let me hear from you. Visit us at DwyerVIP.com, GamblersAdvisory.com, and please leave your comments here. These videos are really never about what I have to say. They're really more about the community's responses to the comments. Let's hear yours. Thanks for watching.